It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This podcast, episode 604, The Positive Lessons from 2020 with guest Josh Garrett.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started. What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. Sitting directly across from me is Josh Garrett. Hi, Josh.
How are you?
Josh, this was your podcast topic, so I'm going to let you host. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And silence. Enjoy, guys.
Yeah, and we're done.
That's
End
a wrap.
scene. So we were going to get to that in a second, of course, because I have my little book out already. You already know, I have some questions for you, including some not from the book. I'm going to have a homework assignment for you. Oh my God, it's going to be so fun. But we are going to talk about some of the positives of, living through 2020 as we're coming to the end of 2020. Thank God. And hopefully 2021 is just a bright, shining rainbow filled with kittens and puppies, and it's everything we've always dreamed of. That's what 2021 is.
Going up from here.
Right? Yeah. So before we get to that, I have my little book.
How many questions are we doing here? You said questions.
I don't know. We're going to feel it out here, Josh.
Okay.
The book is If Questions for the Game of Life. Pick a page number.
50.
50. Okay. Oh, damn.
That's always what you want to hear.
These are good. Oh my God. Okay. Well, okay, let me ask that. Well,
the suspense.
If you could eliminate one day from your past, so you had never had to live through it, which day would you erase?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
If I had one day that I could erase, that is a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, what came to my head at first would be my grandfather passing. Like, just going through that was really challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that death is not fun for anyone, but I don't know. He was just he was a pretty big role model in my life. So when he, getting that phone call was pretty rough. Like, he was already on the downhill side of health, but you kind of brace yourself for it. But then when it comes, it's like, oh man, that was a hard one to swallow.
Yeah.
So
that's what she said.
Oh yeah, that's a good time to insert that one. Jesus.
Oh, that's what she said.
Oh,
again, 2 in a row.
Just teeing it up, and that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, sorry, I had to cheer that up there a little bit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Look, here's a more fun question.
There you go.
If you were to be successful in another profession, what would you want to do? Not be a personal trainer, gym owner.
Yeah. Comedian.
Yeah?
I
like a stand-up comedian or like improv or how?
Stand-up.
Or like sketch comedy,
sure.
stand-up?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried doing stand-up?
No.
Why not? If that's what you would want your other career to be.
This is hypotheticals.
Okay.
I think it would be fun to see if you could get
Anybody
a room full of people to kind of see what you're seeing and go through the process and kind of get everyone to laugh. I don't know.
Have you ever been to an open mic?
No.
Man, I wish we weren't in COVID. I have not done stand-up, but I've done an intense amount of improv.
Yeah. That's what you were saying.
And so, but stand-up, like if you go to open mics, like they'll take anybody up there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I would ever do this.
Would you ever do
Let's
improv?
Be clear. No.
What, dude? You'd have fun.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that one.
Why not?
I'd have to come way out of the shell on that one.
Well, what happens if you got up there and you got a big laugh and then like you got what you think would be cool, like you got a taste of it?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be hard. Public speaking's hard. I mean, getting up in front of people is...
improv's different than public speaking.
Yeah.
Because you're just kind of thrown into a scene.
Yeah, we kind of have to see how it was played out. Like, I want to be able to observe what is going on and then kind of get a feel for that.
Yeah.
And it's so, I don't know, it would be fun to do it with a larger audience, but it's also, I like smaller groups so that you can kind of like feel.
Oh God! Well, if you did an open mic, that is a small ass group. It's normally in a bar.
Okay.
Because when we lived in Denver, we went to a lot of open mics, which I saw some of the funniest stuff. And like it would be people, I mean, from playing a guitar to a piano or to like a little synthesizer to stand up to I mean, just all over the place, because that's what an open mic is. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I was going, and if we wouldn't have moved, I had a couple ideas for doing an open mic, and I stand by them. I would still totally do them. And again, it would make me nervous because like it's potential like nobody would laugh, but I'm like, but I think it's funny, so I don't really care. Plus, it's an open mic, which is usually like 20 people in a bar expecting things to be.
You
garbage.
knew what you were coming into for this.
Yeah, right. So my two ideas were. Do you know Andy Kaufman at all, or anything Andy Kaufman's comedy?
I've heard the name. I probably didn't know the face if I saw him. I'm not very good with names.
But kind of like Andy Kaufman-esque is I wanted to bring my giant boombox and set it on stage and play Huey Lewis's A Heart of Rock and Roll, and then just stand up there and lip sync the whole thing. Like just don't even move, just like stiff body, like blank stare, sing like lip sync all 4 minutes of The Heart of Rock and Roll. And my other one was I was going to write out and go up there and read it super deadpan, same sort of thing, like just no inflection, nothing at all, no flinching, no reaction, is to just blandly read all of Larry the Cable Guy's stand up.
Without any reaction, just
no, and just
straight.
to read it like this and be like, get her done.
Yeah. That would be hilarious if you could pull that off. Yeah, I definitely, I don't gravitate more to that side of comedy, like the Will Ferrell style of comedy or just the blank. But I don't know. I just something about stand-up comedians that make it look so easy.
Oh, it's an art. It's so hard.
It's so cool to like watch that.
Well, and that's why, I mean, I haven't done stand-up because that's why I like improv. I just like the spontaneity. Like I have a quick wit that I can bounce off of somebody, which is why I was on the radio for so long. Right. Like that's just how my brain works. But to write it out and go up on stage and bomb night after night after night, like people like Chappelle and all that still do that. Yeah. And you have to work out the joke. Yeah. And they are up there with notes. Like when we saw Chappelle in Yellow Springs this summer, because he's like the only stand up that did these crazy big shows and all this stuff. And so he would say something and it wouldn't get a good reaction and be like, okay. And he was like just taking notes of like, okay, well, I know whatever I need a special for or whatever, this is going to be tweaked. And that is a job. So then when you do see them, it's like so fluid. It's like how, and then you do the callbacks of how you write a joke where at the very beginning you have a punchline and then bring it back to the end. I mean, that is hard.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I appreciate that. And the fact that you can take an audience through that and go into the process with you, I just think is super cool. Like I wasn't a huge Seinfeld fan, but watching the documentary on Jerry Seinfeld was like, man, that dude is an artist. Like he just is a professional. And like you said, like he had at the end of the documentary, if you've ever seen it, he has all of these legal pads laid out of jokes that he has throughout his whole life that he's wrote out. And it's exactly what you just said. It's all right. This one got a laugh. Ooh, this one did not.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't seen that documentary, but it was because of Seinfeld. This was, I don't want to say early on in my radio career. It was one of the bigger shows I worked on. By bigger, there was 4 of us, and our boss at the time used Seinfeld as an example, and he's like, Seinfeld keeps a journal on him all the time and will write stuff down. Like, that's why his stuff is so matter of the fact. And like, you get it because it's relatable, because he notices these little things about life. And he's like, you're not doing your job as a radio personality if you're not taking notes every day. And that has been ingrained in me with every show, morning show, afternoon show. And it's still, I mean, even now, I haven't been in radio for a year. It's just how I live my life now, is you just notice these small things and you take them down, because that's, even though I didn't turn it into stand-up comedy, but that's exactly what Seinfeld did. It's just these little daily matter-of-fact things that you think that are stupid and throw away and no one notices. Like, that's what everybody can relate to.
Yeah, because I mean, and at the end of the day, that's kind of the essence of life, right? Is like the process of it, which leads right into the topic today.
Oh, but I have one more question first.
Oh, just can't get away from it.
This is the homework assignment. We'll get right to it. So
right to it, yeah.
I know I asked you this question before, but I forgot the answer. What's your top 3 favorite movies?
Is this my homework assignment, or
well,
right
no, you'll
now?
find out. No, it's your top 3 favorite movies right now.
Oh, just on the spot. Top 3 movies.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then we'll get to the homework assignment.
Super Troopers. That was a
good one.
I'm trying to think of movies that I could just watch over and over again. Into the Wild. That was a good one.
The book is really good too.
Yeah, don't do a whole lot of books.
Yeah.
I don't know. A movie that I just watched recently was Awakening with Robin Williams.
Oh, the one with Robert De Niro?
Yes.
That is a good movie.
Holy
man.
Cow. Like,
that is a pull too.
Yeah.
That's not a super popular movie. That is a really good movie.
I haven't cried in a movie in a long time, and I was like, I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Like that was deep.
That's what she said.
How many jokes can we have of that today?
I can keep going.
Just setting it right up there on the key.
But no, that is a really good
yeah,
movie.
that was, so I don't know that I would put that in my top 3.
Yeah,
but
so you got
as of
Super
recent-
Troopers, Into the Wild. Is there any other movie? I mean, I guess Into the Wild probably be a movie for you where you saw it and where you're just kind of like, like a movie that just kind of
life-changing.
Yeah.
That was one that it was just right after college. Didn't really know where I was going. Felt like I was kind of bobbing out in the middle of an ocean. And then watching that movie, I was like, that's exactly how I feel, you know? But this guy just took it to an extreme and was like, F it all. And
man.
Just went with it, which I find very courageous and awesome that he did that. But
I mean, he had a good run of it, man.
Yeah, right? Until that Barry.
Yeah, spoilers.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go watch the movie.
Okay, so name one more movie.
3's just not good enough for you, huh?
No, because I've seen all of those. I'm looking for a movie I haven't seen.
Throw some out. Throw some movies
Dude,
out.
I'm not going to name your favorite movie.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this. The third one would be...
Whatever. This is just going to be homework for you then.
Squirming.
Okay, so never mind. What I was going to do is I was going to name mine, and you could pick one out of mine to watch, and then I would watch one of yours.
Okay.
But I've already seen all of yours. I highly doubt you have seen all of mine.
I would say that would be a definite.
And I have a clear 1, 2, 3 also.
Yeah. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Sorry,
right.
listeners.
Mine
Fail.
are counting backwards.
Okay.
3 to 1. 3 is Harold and Maude. 2 is Dumb and Dumber. And 1 is American Beauty.
Okay.
And American Beauty is a movie which it's so funny because like this isn't a movie that you would think like a 16, 17-year-old would like be into. But that is a movie, when I saw it in the theater, I went with my friend Katie because I can like clearly remember it of going to, because we went to the movies all the time, hashtag the 90s. And so when I saw it, and like that movie makes me cry every single time. I don't even think it's supposed to make you cry. Just like I cry at A League of Their Own. That movie's not supposed to make you cry.
Right.
Even though there's no crying in baseball. And so it was like something like it was just like a switch in me where I'm like, and it
Yeah.
makes more sense as an adult watching it that it's for adults. But it's weird that at that age, I just like love it. That is a movie I could obsessively watch. Alan Ball, who wrote and directed it, also wrote and directed my favorite TV show, which is 6 Feet Under. He just came out with a new Amazon movie, and I watched that 2 nights ago just because I love this dude that his like writing in movies and stuff. It was good, but it wasn't great.
Requiem for a Dream. You saw that one?
I have seen that. I saw that in the theater too. That's a weird
one.
movie.
That is a weird movie. That is-
I haven't seen
what
that
is
since I
this?
saw it was like in the 90s though. I don't think I've seen that anytime recently. And that's Jared Leto's in that, right?
I am not good with that names and actors and that.
So you can pick from that list if you want to
American
watch
Beauty.
American Beauty
Oh,
and Harold and Maude. I don't know if you would like Harold and Maude or
yeah.
not.
If you're putting Dumb and Dumber at number 2, I'm staying away from your comedy movies.
You don't like Dumb and Dumber?
I mean, it's funny, but it's just that type of humor. I can take it for just little snippets, and it's like good for one-liners,
Yeah.
jokes. But watching the whole thing, I'm like, okay, this is too much. Like it's just
See, I think that was also just because that hit me at the right time. Like I was just the perfect age from like Jim Carrey coming out that it just, and I think this is probably one of the reasons I just love it so much. I remember going to the theater to see The Mask. So it was Ace
Yeah.
Ventura came out, then The Mask, and the trailer for Dumb and Dumber was in front of The Mask. And I laughed so hard. I got hiccups so loud. I had to like leave the theater. I was crying laughing because I was like 11 or whatever.
right.
And so I just like, it just stuck with me then. And even now, I think one of the things I really appreciate about that movie, because there's other Jim Carrey movies that I think I appreciate more. Like I really love, have you ever seen Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind?
No.
That's a really good one. I also like Truman Show. I like some of his like more serious movies. But I think what I love about Dumb and Dumber is the improv aspect. So much of that is just like those lines weren't written for him.
Yeah.
So I love movies where you can see the improv. Like, did you know Eugene Levy is the dad in American Pie, and he only agreed to do American Pie if he could throw out all the lines and he got to make them up on the spot.
Really.
And it's the only way he agreed to do that movie.
That's a huge talent that people have that, it's crazy that people can do that because typically, mic comes on or camera comes on and everybody, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, which I've done several times.
Well, you're not right now. So you're getting used to it.
I know, just letting it roll. Liar, Liar. I love that.
Yeah, Liar, Liar is a good
was
movie.
fun. I'm going to have to come back to you on the third one though. So.
Okay. Because I'll watch one of your movies, but maybe I'll watch Awakening again. I haven't
Sounds
seen
like
that in a
you've
long time.
watched a lot of movies, though. I don't know that I'm going to be able to give you one that you
Well,
haven't
I
watched.
used to watch a ton of movies. I haven't seen any new movies. Like
Yeah.
I watch like Netflix shows. Have you watched Queen's Gambit?
Mm-mm.
That's really good. That just came out. But yeah, I haven't really watched a ton of recent movies at all. And yeah, I don't really watch a ton of stuff. Like I'll find a Netflix show and I'll kind of power watch it like Queen's Gambit. And then now I'm back to, and I watched The Crown and now I'm just back to nothing. So
The Abyss.
So, I mean, which now see that plays into COVID because COVID has changed everybody's habits. And so that's where it's like I can power watch these shows before I was working so incredibly much outside of my house that I would, if I watched any TV, I would come home and watch like a half-hour TV and that was it.
Right.
And so now that I have more control of my own schedule and being like mostly quarantined, then it's like, okay, well, I choose for my day to be over at 3 p.m. Now I got time to watch all this crap.
Right.
So it's that, I mean, I have watched more TV this year than probably the last 10 years combined, and I still don't really watch that much. So it's just weird how that changes. One simple change of COVID that I'm not necessarily complaining about because I feel like it's good for me. a good thing of COVID for me is really, and not having a fun time with it, but I needed it to slow down, to not constantly be like before, like up until January of this year, no exaggeration, every minute of my day was accounted for. Like I had to build into my day minutes to take my dog on walks.
Oh yeah.
And so it's wake up at 5 a.m. or whatever. And from there, like everything to the minute, completely timed of like coming here to the gym, training with you, knowing exactly how long my drive back was, how much time I have to get my food ready, take a shower or whatever, how much time it is to get to the radio station on time to record this podcast and have interviews and do all this or do charity events or do whatever, and then do my show there. And then when that's over with, like time is spoken for until into the night. And so it's like that was every single day, including weekends. I mean, that is just run myself out. So now with COVID happening and so many plans, like so many other people, your plans are just shut down. Like things that I had planned just don't exist right now. And so it's like this forced sit down, chill out, binge some Netflix. And it's like, you wouldn't think that would be difficult, but it is.
Yeah.
And I'm finally just now at the end of 2020 appreciating that more and easing into it more and being more relaxed with my schedule and setting better boundaries. Yeah. But it's like you had to like walk through fire to get there.
Yep. And that's exactly one of my, good things that have come out of COVID was the slowdown was a pretty much stop, right? Because we had to close down for 3 months. And that was, the phone wasn't ringing. I didn't have to, I'd talk to people, check in, see how but it was so many little things that I had to do that it didn't take a whole lot of time. And then we get back into, okay, gym's open and it's hit the ground running and we're 800 miles an hour again. And I'm like, okay, I got to find that balance point, right? Of just like, I'd liked not going 800 miles an hour. I don't like going 800 miles an hour. It's just, there's got to be a balance in there, and I think that you're exactly right of just setting those parameters of saying like, nope, this is downtime. I know people would be like, downtime? What do you need downtime for? It's like, that's just what I need. This is my recharging time. Yeah. And that's what the quarantine that I had to do for the 2 weeks, because I was possibly
you're just coming, so we haven't talked, but this is recent that you had to take 2 weeks off the gym because a family member had COVID and you were just being
indirectly
careful.
I had possibly come into contact with it, so stayed home. And when you don't have anything to do, like that's forced to do, it's like, man, there's a lot of reflection time, and it's like I enjoy this. It helps me fill myself back up to have time away from people, because it's, clients and trainers and myself and family and friends. And it's like, there's not really a whole lot of time to fill yourself back up kind of thing. So the quarantine helped me just, all right, I need to find more of this, but I also have to get all this stuff done too, right? Because you have responsibilities and everybody does. So it's just like just trying to find that balance point. And I'm not there yet, but it's definitely, awareness is the first step to it. Yeah. So
what other positive things have you
done
this year?
That was the biggest one of just it made you reflect, right? Yeah. You didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Well, and it still is, because it's like, it's not like it's getting any better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's still, it's just, you don't want to go out because of potentially coming in contact with somebody. And then I got to take another 2 weeks off. And then God forbid I get this thing. And then it's another 2 weeks. And it's like, okay, cool. 6 weeks I've had to take off because of, the coronavirus. And there's just not anything going on. You know? So it's the new norm is that you do have to sit and just be with yourself and reflect
hopefully, that's also, I'm not to try to take a negative spin on this, but that's also a lot of privilege where, a lot of people they've lost their jobs completely, or, you know, they can't pay their rent. Like we're about to go through like a mortgage and rent crisis where so many people can't pay their rent, of like, you know, just where the thought isn't even like self-reflection of now it's just purely survival and not even from the virus. It's just all of the after effects of it. And it's, you know, it's just this, you know, I'm kind of hoping that this year for everybody ends up being, if you think of like, you know, like a control burn or something in, or like a wildfire, like a healthy wildfire, not a set fire from, you know, a gender reveal of like, you gotta, nature does, you know, it kind of levels the playing field again, and there you get new growth and things come back stronger and better and you learn from it. But it's like, it's this cycle that you kind of have to, you know, ups and downs, and like we're in a down and it sucks while you're there, but hopefully in the next few years we can look back and be like, oh my God, man, did we really learn something? And I think hopefully for a lot of people, whether you lost your job or even if you're in your job and you have the realization of this isn't the job you want, of just, I guess, the realization of how short life really is, and that, you know, is what you're doing what you want to be doing, or do you want to spend that much time on your job? Are you spending as much time with your family as you want to, or no? Or, you know, it's just kind of reevaluating every part of your life, because this is affecting everybody's jobs, your home life, school, finances, everything. It's like there's not one part that it doesn't touch. And and that's why it's like so freaking hard to jumble all that up and reconfigure it. And especially if you liked things the way they were and they can't go back that way, and you have to find a new way if you're not happy about it. But ultimately, I mean, we all have to go through it now. There is no choice. So it's like, it's just how you react to it of, okay, then can you take the control that you do have over it, of the circumstances, and work them to your favor? Which is easier said than done. For sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing to take away is it's happening, right? Like I don't want this to happen, and we can stomp our feet and slam and do all this stuff, but we are going through it. You know, we have to, it's here. Yeah. we're in the process of going through this. You know, you can't go backwards. We got to go forwards. We got to figure out, this is whatever the new norm looks like. And the new norm is going to change on a day-to-day basis. You know, it's like, oh, Governor DeWine's going to make a speech today. Oh, am I going to have to shut my business down again? You know, and everybody's like on edge, and it's like, all right, we've went through it. We'll adjust. We'll react. We'll respond. We'll come out on the other side of it. You know, it's just, I think that so many people always they just want to hold on to the past, and it's like, you gotta just let it go sometimes. And
but I mean, there's a lot of stuff too where everybody's circumstances are so different, where it's also really hard to let go of, you know, just anger around it, or resentment of, you know, if somebody got sick and you lost somebody important to you, and you felt somebody was at fault for it,
oh, let's be clear. I've lost my shit plenty of times during this, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying this has been a walk in the park. Yeah. Like, it's definitely, but the growing pains have kind of, the benefit to going through that is just let it control your controllables, right? Yeah. Okay, I woke up today. Here's what I want to try to get accomplished today. At the end of the day, if I didn't get all that accomplished, guess what? Hopefully I wake up tomorrow and I get to try it again. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of going with the flow and trying to be water, and not just intellectually get it, but actually trying to implement those things. Is it easy every day? Absolutely not. Like, it's hard as hell right now. You know, it's so frustrating, and it's so uncertain, and we don't have control, and we want the way that it used to be, and we want the fun things, and we want the distractions, but we don't have that ability right now. So what do we have the ability? We have the ability to control our response to those things. It's control our anger, control our anxiety, look in the mirror. You know, why did I get so oh man, I'm going to whip that dude that just because of blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there's something else driving that. It's not just.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things to be angry about right now.
For sure. For sure. I just, and I don't think anybody's perfect at it. I think we all can, but we can all work to try to help each other out. Like, I think that's one of the things that has kind of like, I don't know, made me sad in a way, is like how many people just aren't respectful of other people's thought process and feelings. And it's like, everybody has to like feel the same way, act the same way, do the same thing. And that's not how we were built. Like,
I know, but I guess on that same thought though, I think one of the things that's really mentally messed with me this year that I don't have any control over is just watching everybody just fight each other.
Yes.
Of like that there's a hard line in the middle. Nobody can meet in the middle anywhere. And it's just, that's why I do not regret deleting Facebook. I mean, I logged on this week to post something about my cookbook and then I'm right back out of there.
Yeah.
Because it's just nothing but like, here's two sides screaming at each other. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I am going to bow out of this conversation. Yeah. I can't. I don't know if I'm just like too sensitive to stuff like that, which I never really thought I was, but it's just kind of like, it's this overwhelming feeling. And I'm like, I just can't handle it. I hate it. And I'm like my control over that is to shut that out of like, there's a difference between getting information and staying informed and getting in petty fights on social media. Right. And so that I feel like, and I don't know, just that reverberating in the air and being all around us, at least here in the United States, it feels like it's just already this tense feeling that I think we're all feeling, whether or not you could verbalize it or not, whether you're the one part of the screaming match or you're bowing out of it. It's like you just feel it. And I hate that. And that's scary to me to think of like, how is this going to get resolved? Because how are two completely different sides of people that cannot understand each other at all ever supposed to compromise? Like, it just like, so that's where I'm like, I got to stop thinking about this because I can't control that. And me worrying about it is just
amplifying
me worrying about it.
And it just keeps perpetuating the cycle, and then you throw the media that's driven off of that fear, right? Because like people are like, oh, well, I got to have more of that.
Well, media is driven off of ratings.
For sure. But those ratings are, fear drives those ratings because people are
sensationalism.
Like, they want to be informed. They want to be.
And you want to hear what you want to hear.
Exactly. And the smartphones that we have are programmed with the algorithms just to give us more of what we've already feel, what we already hear, what we want to hear, right? So it's like, it's just perpetuating the cycle, and then it just amplifies, and then the uncertainty, and it's just like this crazy storm that then somebody hits the brakes the wrong way and you're like ready to fist fight them. And it's, whoa. We're all trying to get through this thing together. Like, let's just, let's try to just listen to each other a little bit. And I mean, I'm going off on a tangent here, but.
Well, here's another deep question that would typically kind of go at the beginning of this episode. Yeah. But to this topic of thinking of, where we're talking about it, it makes you appreciate life and how short life is, and like, understanding that you want more quiet time or the importance of family, et cetera, et cetera. So if you were to know you were going to die tomorrow, is there anything in your life that you would have regretted not doing? Is there something where you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't get to do blank. I wish I could have got to do blank.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I know. That's something that I've been playing with, because this is something that's been spinning in my head, because then I'm like, well, what's the answer? And then do it. Like, what's the excuse not to do it? But I keep getting stuck on like, I don't know, of like, it's hard to come up with an answer. Well,
and I don't think mine would be a specific answer. It's not seeing how far 360 can go, or not seeing how far I can take other endeavors that I'm trying to dabble with. The experience of watching that Like, we were talking today and you said that the gym kind of has life, right?
Yeah.
And it's cool to think that was just in my head at one point. Like I sat back and I looked and it was like, okay, well, I think that this could work. And then, trials and tribulations and setbacks and hiccups and, screwed up on that one, or man, that was really awesome. And then seeing the community start growing and the pieces coming together, and then seeing the life come into it. I don't know. It's just that for me, that's like the cool thing, and not being able to see how far that would go, I guess would be the thing that would suck about dying tomorrow.
You don't have any like
among other things,
cliche bucket list thing like skydive over the Grand Canyon or see the Sahara Desert or something like that. There's nothing kind of like that on it, like a bucket list sort of thing.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I think that everything's, this is going to sound real corny, everything's beautiful in and of itself, given the experience that you're having with the thing that you're looking at, right? So like we could go to the Grand Canyon and it could be a horrible trip. Like kids are yelling, I didn't pack this, luggage got lost, and you could be like, all these negative things happen. Well, the Grand Canyon trip sucked.
Yeah.
Or you could go and be like, water created this thing. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And really experience it. So I think that for me, it's just kind of like who I'm around and who I'm with to experience this stuff. As corny as that sounds, there's not really anything on my to-do list.
So then that brings up to the next question then. Since you don't have that specific experience, does that make you want to move your life forward, having more of those people in your life to create those experiences with then?
Yes.
So that, so maybe the mission is like, hey, I need to see the Grand Canyon before I die, of like, hey, I need to have enough people in my circle that make me experience life the way I want to experience it.
Yep. And I think that pre-COVID, it was just put the blinders on, grunt this thing out, make it happen, just hell or high water, 800 miles an hour, I'm going forward, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just like stopping and going, what am I doing this for? Who am I experiencing this thing called life with, and the friends that I've pushed away, not intentionally, but just because
when
of
you're a
chapters.
workaholic, it happens.
Yeah, right. Like just chapters have changed and everybody has stuff going on in life. But it's like, if that is important to you, reach out, call that person, talk to that person, try to see them as much as you can, understanding that it's not going to be perfect and everybody's got stuff that they have to do. But I don't know. It's just, for me, it's more about the experiences of it and the day-to-day and the progress. And I think if you can embrace that part of it, it makes life more successful and more fulfilling than, all right, when I get here, then it's going to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Because every time you get there, you just set a new there. And
that plays so hard into once I'm this size, once I fit in this size jeans, like once my arms are toned or whatever, then I can finally feel free. And it never comes the way you think it's going to.
No. And that was, there's so many correlations between exercise and health and life, right? Because it's just, exercise is not complicated. At the end of the day, you can make it as complicated as you want, or you can make it as simple as you want. It's the daily choices that you do.
Yeah.
It all piles together, and that's your life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that being said, of just, from the people that are in your life, like let's just say your clients. I mean, I job shadowed you today. So I watched you with a couple handfuls of your clients. And after this COVID experience where, you're still open now and you can see these people, have you noticed a change in their lives or perspective? Like from your perspective of working with so many different kinds of people, do you feel like a majority of them kind of have this different sort of like take on life in the world now? Or is it still just kind of back to usual?
Yeah, I feel like everybody's just we're just trying to get through it
that
right
is
now.
fair.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody's just like mentally exhausted from it. And it's just like, there's not a whole lot of light at the end of the tunnel. So I think that people are just, I would have a better answer for that once we kind of get through it and see if it does change people's perspective in their day to day. But right now, you know,
we're
and myself included, it's just like, oh man, here we go again.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to get out of that, but we're all human and we all have that, you know, tug to kind of look more at the negative side of things than the positive for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I feel this is how I felt the moment this all began. And I still feel this way now, although I think it's going to take longer than I thought it would. This is all taking longer than we thought it would. So
2 weeks shut down, we'll be good to go.
Yeah,
we'll flatten the curve, and now it's like,
gone.
holy shit, we're still going into this thing.
Right.
This is 10 months.
So I still stand by this, although it's not on the timeline. Like, again, clear, nothing's on the timeline we thought it was going to be. I do think, at least for me, in my perspective, the two main really hopeful shining lights that I see out of this is, one is perspective on life and really choosing how to live your life and try. Hopefully a lot of people kind of live their life for the better once we get past this garbage.
Yeah.
That, and then also I really honestly think it is such a good reflection on thinking of your own health, of that, you know, if you have things that you're compromised about that you have control over, like, you know, within your own body, like you can't control if you have asthma, but you can control if you are just eating like crap and not moving your body, and the risks that put you at on a non-COVID level, like you're putting yourself at risk for heart disease and cancer and everything else. I'm hopeful that this whole experience will kind of reshift our thinking and to be like, let me care about my body. Let me not punish it with food, good or bad. Let me not punish it with exercise, good or bad, of like, how can I just live a healthier life? And especially this year too, I feel like this year, it feels like it's not split in half, but there's definitely a split between, at least if you want to look at the health and fitness aspect of, there's people that have like gone and crushed it, of like that have not focused on this before, and this was their time of like, I'm going to do these home workouts. I'm going to finally focus on this. And there's a decent amount of people I know that have done that and have lost 40 plus pounds and have started a new, you know, they got a Peloton or whatever, which is awesome. But there feels like there's a lot more people that are like, I gained 50 pounds. I'm just, none of my clothes fit. I feel like trash, because it's like, that's coping mechanisms to all of this. And I am in that camp of like that. It got to me too that way of like, so there's, but it's like, but you know better, but you don't. So it's like here you're living in this, and you can see how your body reacts under this crazy pressure and stress. How do we learn from this moving forward? And how can we really focus on our bodies and mental health and physical health moving forward? Because we've learned at this event how it affected us, and, you know, in what ways, like, why did we, like, so many people just have been drinking a lot, which I get because everything sucks. Yeah. So it's like really kind of unpacking that, and what are you really doing to your body, and how do you really feel after that? I don't know. I just think I'm hoping 1-2 years down the road that really more people focus on the health aspect.
I definitely think that I'm hopeful, I guess, as well, that is the route that the more people take is, okay, if world health pandemic comes in effect again, I know that I've given myself the best chance to fight it. You know? Not saying that it couldn't take me out, because it affects everybody different and everybody is different. But I've put the chips in my favor. You know, I've kind of tried to stack the deck as much as I could, instead of oh shit, we got a world health pandemic. I hope I don't get sick because I'm not very healthy because I've been focusing on this area so hard in my life. And it kind of shines some light on the fact that we're not a healthy society and that people, you know, we overcomplicate this thing, and we can do a lot of little things that aren't. We look at those little things as being seamlessly unimportant, right? Like it's just like, oh, that's 10,000 steps. I could do that. Do you?
Yeah.
I don't care what you could do. Do you do that on a regular basis? I could drink that much water if I need it. Do you? Do you eat your fruits and vegetables? You know, it's the little things that I hope people will take.
Well, yeah, and that plays into this too of, maybe it's not COVID. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with COVID, but it certainly could be heart disease. Heart disease takes out a lot of people. And that's where I think the beginning of the pandemic, people were comparing it to things of like, oh, well, it's not killing that many people. Look at all the people that die of health disease and cancer. And it's like, yeah, let's look at that.
Yeah.
Look at how many people die from health disease and cancer. And not that all of them are preventable, but a lot of it is preventable with diet and exercise. So it's like if we had the opportunity to know that we could do our best to prevent COVID or heart disease or cancer or anything else, like, why don't we do that? Like it's, and I know it's just easier said than done because you have all this other lifestyle and pressures and stress and marketing and everything else that is working against that. But that's where I'm hoping it just kind of makes that picture a little clearer. And also just to see like, you know, the chains of food and stuff like that too, of like how this pandemic is affecting local farmers and everything else of like how food systems kind of work. Cause there was a couple times that it looked like breaks in the food system were going to happen. Right. And then that's no bueno. We don't want to go there, man.
Exactly.
Nope. So,
you go into the grocery store and there's like unlabeled meat, right? It's just like, here's a barcode and like some sketchy looking label, and you're like, what is this? You know, like what is going on?
Well, I did hear a podcast. I listened to this Wall Street podcast, or just like talks about stocks and stuff. And one of the things they talked about, this is a couple months ago, and they said Kroger is doing this huge investment, and this is going to show up in Kroger stores, which is also Fred Meyer and King Soopers and Kroger, whatever the name is, and wherever you're at in the country, is that they are doing this big investment with, those big hydroponic like gardens, those white things that like stand up like pillars. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That they are they've already invested in it. This is going to happen within the next like 5 years, that they're going to build a section of that in Kroger stores in certain locations, because one of the worries is so many people going to online shopping. There's no like tactile, go and touch the food, see where your food's coming from. And it kind of revitalizes. They're hoping once this pandemic's over to get people back into the stores. And plus it's cheaper on their end because they're growing their own food that you're going to buy, but you also have a shopping experience that you can go in and pick out your fresh vegetables and fruit and stuff like that, which I think is a really cool idea. And I'm excited to see how that operates. Yeah.
I mean, we've really become really disconnected from our food, you know, and that's a whole nother podcast topic, but that sounds really cool. What is it? Tower Gardens? Isn't that what that's called? Tower Gardens?
I don't know. I'm sure I could Google it, but we're in the middle of recording. But it was just, I heard on that podcast that it's some official company that did a startup with that, and then Kroger bought in. Huh.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen more and more people getting like those industrial ones, like those big ass ones.
Right.
Because I've seen like little ones, and I used to have an arrow garden, which like, I don't know, I can't even make an arrow garden work. I'm so bad at plants, which is just your own little mini hydroponic garden, which everybody's like, you growing weed in that? And so, I've seen like there's somebody I follow on Instagram that bought a couple of them for like their little shop or whatever they have. And I'm like, it's just such a cool idea and like here locally, do you know anything about 80 Acres Farms?
I've heard about them. Yeah.
And so they're just massive hydroponic farming, and their food, if you've had it, like it's freaking delicious.
I haven't had it. I had a client who was telling me about it, and her son works at a local farm, and he was telling her about it, and then she was telling me about it, and through that telephone game.
Yeah.
But it sounds super cool. I looked it up, and they use the grow lights and hydroponics, right?
Yeah. And so they have this hello commercial for 80 Acres Farms. But I mean, it's local here to Cincinnati. I don't know how far they're branching out of Cincinnati yet, but they have multiple different like lettuce mixes. They're called firecracker tomatoes, like little cherry tomatoes that are really, really good because they actually like taste like tomatoes, not like all the other crap. Yeah. They have like little mini cucumbers. They have herbs. I'm sure they have more stuff because I think they're expanding too. So, I mean, that's cool. I mean, you have control over that. You know what I mean? Like it's inside, it's controlled. It's like not depending on the weather and everything else. So
right.
I don't know. It's exciting to see stuff like that.
It's interesting. Yeah. To just see how much science is blending with what we're capable of doing in like smaller square footage space and better utilization. And, you know, okay, well, we know exactly how much water we need and we can kind of like manipulate that. I don't know. There's a scary part to that too, but it's also cool to see that, you know, as the population continues to grow, we're running out of space and we got to figure it out. So
is there anything else you wanted to add of positives to COVID? This was your podcast topic.
No,
I didn't feel like I hijacked it with asking you about movies.
Yeah, we just bounced all over the place. Hopefully people got something out of it. I mean, I think that we just, at the end of the day, we're all trying to go through it. And if everybody would just kind of woosah a little bit and just listen to other people and understand that other people may have different point of views, and that's okay.
And everybody's going through something different too. Yeah. Like you don't know, you can bump into somebody at the store and you have no idea what they dealt with that day. Are they a healthcare worker? Were they working in this all day and now you just happen to see them there? Yeah.
And yeah, it's just,
and again, it's just like could be, and this is going to sound so cheesy too, like it's an opportunity for kindness instead of beating each other up of like, oh my God, like we're all going through something instead of ready to kick someone in the face, be like, you need a hug. I mean, 6 feet apart, but
right. Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel so bad for healthcare workers. Like I don't know. It's just such a rough job to begin with. And a lot of people that I know, including family, worked in healthcare. And it's just, it's already like a thankless job where it's like, and now they're going through so much. It is just like, it's frustrating to me. This is my own personal rant here.
Yeah.
That at the beginning of this, we rallied for healthcare workers. And, you know, like, oh my God, you're on the front line. Like, you know, when people had clapped whenever their shift changes and stuff. Yeah. And now it's like, whatever.
Yep.
And that's just, that just sucks because it's like worse now at the time of recording this than it has been ever. And it's just like,
and they've been battling it for 10 months leading up to this. Yeah. You know,
I just wish to just shower them with like everything of like, oh my God, it's so freaking rough. And I know I talked to my mom on Thanksgiving and she just retired when COVID started. She was already toying with retirement, but she didn't want to deal with this. And so she's got friends that still work in the hospital. And she told me they told her, and she's in St. Louis, that they were shipping patients to Chicago because there was no room for them. Like, you got to go 5 hours away.
Yeah.
Like that is, oh my God. And just to think of like that those people are that overworked, that those are the choices that you have to make of like, oh, man.
That is. But the positive is we're humans. We adapt. We evolve. Like this is what we do. You know, if we are lucky enough to make it through this, we'll get through it.
Yeah.
You know, there is going to be an end to this at some point. It may not feel like it. It may not seem like it right now, but we'll push through it. It's just, I just wish it would hurry up.
Yeah, right. Well, so to wrap up then,
yes. Are
you doing any virtual training at all?
We are. Nick is definitely doing more of the virtual training. It's just kind of like he's a little bit better at that. I'm not real tech savvy. Just for the way that I train, it's better for me to see the individual, and it's like by the time we move positioning of cameras and hey, I can't see this, do this. It's like, okay, we've been 5 minutes trying to mess with this camera angle rather
Yeah.
than you working out. So it's a little bit harder for me. I haven't been able to hit stride with that, but I haven't really put forth a lot of effort. So yes and no. I mean, we would do virtual sessions.
But if somebody emailed you, you would just recommend one of your trainers that would be better at a virtual training session.
Yeah, we would just kind of do a phone consultation and kind of see what the client's looking for, if they didn't want to come in and do the in-person thing, or if proximity wise they weren't able to make it into the gym. Yeah, we would do a virtual session for sure.
Info at Cincy360fitness.com.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.